The Indian Parliament faces a disruptive trend as lawmakers often prioritize disruption over debate. This contrasts with the initial adoption of the British-style parliamentary system, which Indian nationalists admired for its democratic essence. Over time, India's political culture has shifted, leading to unruly scenes in state assemblies and even the national legislature. While disruptions persist, standards of behavior have eroded, causing concern about the institution's credibility. To address this, India could consider adopting British parliamentary practices, such as allowing an opposition day to set the agenda and implementing Prime Minister's question time for executive accountability. Re-establishing parliamentary decorum is crucial for India's democracy.
India has made significant strides in various fields, including space exploration and global leadership. However, it faces a growing burden of non-communicable diseases, NCDs, like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and cancer, which could cost nearly $4 trillion by 2030. This health crisis threatens to undermine India's progress. The author urges the healthcare industry to raise awareness, promote healthy lifestyles, and expand comprehensive health checks. India has world-class healthcare infrastructure, and with the reimagination of its healthcare model and the potential for AI-driven healthcare solutions, it can become a global leader in combating NCDs and medical value travel, MVT. Collaboration between the public and private sectors is crucial, and AI can play a significant role in diagnostics and personalized healthcare. Investments in research and development can position India as a leader in AI-driven healthcare solutions, benefiting healthcare systems worldwide.
India's goods exports have decreased for the seventh consecutive month in August, with a 6.9% drop, while imports reached their highest level since March. The trade deficit widened to $24.2 billion, the largest since October 2022. So far this year, goods exports have fallen by 11.9% and imports have dropped by 12.1%. Services exports are also expected to decline slightly in August. The pressure on the trade deficit may increase due to rising global commodity prices. Although some export volumes have risen, lower prices have impacted their overall value. Supporting exporters and nurturing positive signs like the recent uptick in engineering goods exports is crucial for India's trade balance.
A year after the death of Mahsa Amini, a Kurdish woman arrested for not wearing a hijab, anti-government protests in Iran have lost momentum. However, Iran remains vulnerable to further unrest. The Islamic Republic, grappling with economic challenges due to US sanctions, has faced ongoing protests demanding reforms and, at times, regime change. While the regime initially wavered in response to Amini's death, it has since intensified its crackdown on protesters, leading to numerous deaths, arrests, and executions. The US imposed new sanctions on Iranian security officials, but a more consistent policy of engagement and pressure is needed to address Iran's issues effectively.
The 18th G20 summit in New Delhi produced the New Delhi Leaders' Declaration with a strong focus on unity, shared destiny, and harmonizing development with the environment. It lists 12 goals, including inclusive growth, sustainable development, and addressing debt vulnerability. The document emphasizes geopolitical issues, seeking a balance between Russian interests and G7's concerns for territorial integrity. Notably, the African Union, AU, was admitted as a member aiming for a more inclusive world. The agenda covers economic, climate, technological, and gender equality goals, but questions arise about financing these objectives. The declaration highlights the need for reinvigorated multilateralism and global governance reform.
The recent victory of the Samajwadi Party, SP, in the Ghosi by-elections in Uttar Pradesh has raised questions about Mayawati's grip on her vote bank. The BSP decided to sit out of the contest, and Mayawati appealed to her voters to either abstain from voting or press nota. The voter turnout saw a drop, and some attribute it to Mayawati's appeal. However, her absence in Ghosi is also seen as a strategic move to deal with political dynamics in the state. Mayawati's party could still play a significant role in the upcoming elections, despite its diminished influence.
A policy brief from the Indian Council for Research on International Economic Relations criticized the Indian government's measures to curb food inflation, including export bans and export duties, as knee-jerk approaches. In August 2023, India's retail inflation reached 6.83%, primarily driven by food and beverages, which have a 57% weightage in inflation calculations. The government had taken various actions to control food inflation, such as export bans on wheat and rice, stocking limits, and export duties. However, the brief argued that these measures had unintended consequences and called for a more rational trade policy that considers both consumers and producers.
India's Project Cheetah, aimed at reintroducing African cheetahs into the country, has faced significant challenges in its first year. While 20 adult African cheetahs were imported for the project, only 12 have been released into the wild due to delays and safety concerns. 6 of the cheetahs, including 4 cubs, have died. Reasons for the deaths vary, from renal conditions to heatwave-related issues. The project has also diverted attention and resources from other critical conservation projects. Experts emphasize the need for proper habitats and transparent planning for the project's success and the conservation of grasslands and open ecosystems.
The Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, TRAI, has issued a consultation paper on regulating over-the-top (OTT) communication services, which include apps like WhatsApp and Zoom. Telecom service providers, TSPs, argue that OTTs should be regulated and charged because they utilize telecom infrastructure without contributing to its maintenance. They propose cost-sharing mechanisms between TSPs and OTTs to support network expansion. However, internet service providers argue that such services should be governed by existing rules, while the Internet and Mobile Association of India opposes charging consumers twice for the same service. The Internet Freedom Foundation is also concerned about selective bans on OTT services.